the first speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Simon Perkins. He's the CEO of Cellcard. Talking about him, he is a vastly experienced leadership figure in the telecommunication industry with a proven track record of successfully driving organizations across global markets. The topic will be Cambodia, the Kingdom of Wonder. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Simon Perkins.
Okay, good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you to the IMC for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. I do feel I'm here under false pretenses. I'm not really the best qualified to talk about the future techade, as this presentation has been labeled. And I entitled my presentation, Cambodia, the Kingdom of Wonder. That's how the Tourism Bureau advertises Cambodia, which is very famous for the temples of Angkor Wat. And if you haven't been there, I encourage you to please drop by and visit. But I call it Cambodia, the Kingdom of Wonder, because it is quite wonderful, the story of Cambodia, which emerged 30 years ago from a devastating civil conflict. I'm sure you know, I'm sure you've heard about the Khmer Rouge. That conflict more or less hollowed out everything that we are familiar with in our lives. Education, educated people, infrastructure, everything about that country was more or less destroyed. 30 years ago, that ended. And what I want to show is how Cambodia has changed and adopted technologies that we consider quite advanced. A little bit about the country. The statistics are on the left-hand side. We're not a big country, just under 17 million people. It's not a rich country. GDP per cap is about 2,300 US dollars. Mobile penetration is very high, 132%. I'm sure that's pretty similar to what you have here. Internet users very high, 11 million. Urban population, 25%. Smartphone penetration, very high. Poor country, but 70% smartphone penetration. iPhones being the phone of choice, again, similar to here. Average data consumption per capita, 7 gigabytes. So that's for every living person in Cambodia, nearly 17 million of them, 7 gigabytes. If I look at active mobile users, the average data consumption is 1 gigabyte per day. So roughly 30 in a month, very high. Let's look at some of the drivers that have given rise to that high adoption. Online payments, phenomenally high. 82% of all transactions, payment transactions by volume, done online. Now, that civil disruption that we talked about earlier probably was some of the drivers that we talk about leading to these surprising statistics, because Cambodia leapfrogged technologies because there was no infrastructure 30 years ago. There is no copper virtually in Cambodia. There are no fixed lines. So Cambodia leapfrogged to mobile and to fiber without going through that evolution. No legacy. On the right-hand side, this again will be very familiar to those of you from here. We have a very young population, median age 27. I think the median age here is 30. So we are very, very similar. You can see the green box there. 37% of the population is under 20. Now, we call this the demographic dividend. It's even unique compared to other countries in Southeast Asia, even if we look at Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, our large developed neighbors, they don't have this demographic dividend, which is more people entering the working population over the next couple of decades. Their working populations are going to shrink. And of course, it's a much more extreme example in many Western developed markets. Online payments in Cambodia have been a phenomenal success. And again, this is leapfrogging technologies. So we are leapfrogging the credit card, the debit card. Not many people use credit or debit cards. They use QR scanning payments. Just like you have Paytm here, we have many, many QR scanning payment mechanisms supported by the banks. But here's the key, they are all interoperable. They all interconnect. I can scan anybody's QR code and I can pay from any bank account that I have in my name. And that's enabled through a central bank managed digital currency. It's called Bakong. Centrally managed, centrally controlled, so it removes all the risks that we associate with cryptocurrencies typically, and enables these payments. 68% of financial transactions go through a QR payment by volume, 68%. Cash is redundant, largely, in Cambodia now. We only use cash to give a tip to the taxi driver or to somebody who helps us. Everything else is done pretty well through QR payments. And the bar charts try to show you how that is driven again by a younger population. Typically, the people who are in their 20s and 30s are driving this adoption. The little map on the right-hand side talks about how that all interconnects between all of the banks, and now is interconnecting into our neighboring countries, Thailand and Malaysia. I can go to Thailand or Malaysia, I can scan a QR code, and I can pay from my bank account in Cambodia in local currency with no fees. It costs zero. So you can see that the credit cards are never going to be able to keep up with this development with their 2-3% merchant charges. Because the users who have a low income, look for the most efficient way to use their money, will use a QR code. Social media adoption, I think this is probably common amongst any young country, huge. Facebook is our most popular social media platform, #1 by far, but quickly followed by TikTok. And then I put Instagram on there just to show you Instagram is a very far third player by comparison to the social media. And so Facebook also drives a lot of e-commerce, Facebook Marketplace, where small, medium businesses, mom and pop shops put their products and services through Facebook Marketplace. And the payment will be enabled almost certainly through a QR code. Home deliveries, 52% of last mile delivery people use. Typically that's for food and drink. People order online, it's delivered on a motorbike, the cost for that will be sub $1. So if I'm ordering, a $10 food package, I'll pay the motorbike to bring it for less than $1. And it'll be paid for by the QR code, including paying the motorbike. Another key driver I want to talk about is the low cost of data. Now, Cambodia is the 5th lowest cost of data in the world. So 1 gig of data in Cambodia on average costs 12 US cents. Our most popular package is $1, buys 8 GB of data, valid for 7 days. 75% of my users use that pack. 98% of my users are prepaid. So the low cost of data enables these services to be used efficiently. And if you look on here, we're pretty much in line with the other 4. The outlier is Israel with a very, very low cost of data at 2 cents. I haven't managed to investigate how they get down to that price point. I'd love to know. But we can manage at sort of 12 cents per GB. And that, we believe, is another key underpinning to the adoption of these more advanced services. And on the right, I've shown a bar graph of the adoption of internet services. 10 years ago, everybody was accessing the internet from their mobile. Now the growth is in home broadband, fiber to the home. It's all fiber, there's no copper, fiber to the home. That is growing phenomenally. We start from a base of only about 10% of households had fiber-based broadband. It's growing at 20% a year, so very quickly that's going to be a saturated business as well. I am going to try and use those glasses to look into the future. What's going to be the next big wave? We see the next big sector that's going to change is education. Education are already adopting, the education industries are already adopting all of the online techniques to reach their pupils. Frankly, the quality of some of the education in Cambodia, the public education, is not great. The availability of good teachers and tutors is not high. So the only way to scale the quality education in Cambodia is to put it online. Ensures that the content is of suitable quality and it's accessible by all the students. This industry is going to change dramatically from the physical school with one teacher who's trying to manage multiple syllabuses to much more specialized education being available online. Banking is already phenomenally developed with the QR code and the interoperability. That will just continue to penetrate into the low-income segments. And also SMEs, small and medium enterprises, becoming more sophisticated in how they address their customers, mine their data, and store their data. So you're now seeing customers being more, enterprises being more interested in storing data and having some sort of cybersecurity mechanisms that stop people being able to attack those. So there's my quick ramble through the story of Cambodia, some drivers, some unique drivers that have allowed Cambodia to leapfrog and to adopt what we might call future technologies, and what's likely to change, we believe, in the next 5 years. So once again, thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to talk to you about my home country. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was really insightful. The next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Erik Ekeden, CTO Ericsson. As Group CTO, Mr. Erik is responsible for setting the direction of technology leadership for the Ericsson Group. In 2017, he was relocated to Kista, Sweden, after nearly 7 years of Ericsson in Santa Clara, California. Ladies and gentlemen, join your hands together for Mr. Erik.
Well, what a pleasure to be here. The future is now. I couldn't agree more. But as has been said many times, if you look at what's coming, it's never going to be evenly distributed. So if you look at what's happening now in India, if you look at the fantastic rollout of 5G over the last 2 years or so, and some of the advancements, not the least innovations on identities and payments through the UPI system, clearly the future in those areas is here and now. And I think that's really what's important when we talk about trends, technology trends, or industry trends, is to look for those good examples of where more advancements have really created new innovation, and then we could take those ideas and bring them to the whole world. And I think many of those examples will come from India, no doubt, from now on, also in the mobile space. As a CTO of Ericsson and also responsible for strategy of the group, I get to meet a lot of CTOs in the industry, a lot of CEOs, and talk about where we are. And this slide just shows you how far we've come on 5G around the world. We have some 320 5G networks. India has rolled out 450,000 5G base stations in roughly 2 years. And I would say that's a record in terms of speed of rollout, the coverage that has been achieved, and also the performance of this 5G network. In fact, India has clearly surpassed countries that started much, much earlier when it comes to 5G services and also 5G uptake. Some 2 billion 5G smartphones have been shipped, so we are still in the early days, you could say, but we are also halfway into the cycle when it comes to the 5G standards as they were defined, now implemented, and then maturing over the coming 5-10 years. But there are other countries around the world. Here I look at the US with the operator T-Mobile, just as one example, where there is already 95% population coverage of what we call 5G standalone, which is where you get access to the new core network, you get access to network slicing, which allows you to segment the offering, allows you to differentiate performance, and create new services, both in the consumer space as well as in the enterprise space, in the small, medium business space. And that's what you see on the right-hand side, that 5G is already making its way beyond the smartphones. We're talking about connected smart factories. And why would you connect a factory with 5G when you already have cable or maybe an unlicensed Wi-Fi? The answer is simple. You increase your productivity significantly. You move from an unreliable service, perhaps security-wise unreliable as well, or unsecure, to a service which could take your productivity in the factory from, let's say, 85% total efficiency or productivity up to 95 to 100%, because there's no standstill. The robots, when you assemble around one of the EVs shown on this picture, for example, you have 100% performant networks. It works all the time, and it has the flexibility, it has the inbuilt security. So more and more of these will be retrofitted. Smart manufacturing moving into 5G as the vehicle to digitalize the smart factory. And ports, obviously big areas where you need good 5G coverage, but here moving the one operating the crane from on-site to a remote location, increasing safety drastically, which is the same that you see in mines, open pit mine or deep down mines. So all of these safety, security, reliability are now making their way into every industry and society, taking us far beyond the consumer opportunity that 5G initially offers. But again, my point is that the future is here, is now, and is unevenly distributed. So let's take from these good examples from around the world, the learnings, and bring them into India, but also bring the good examples from India to the rest of the world. Now, big trends in the world. If I ask you to name a few major societal trends, global trends, some of you would come up with electrification, big topic. Others would talk about automation in general, being efficient. And some would say resilience, because clearly we have learned through the pandemic and other changes in our world that you need reliability, security, and supply chain resilience. You need to know that you can operate the network and that you can safeguard performance even in a crisis. So you need to have the trust in your infrastructure, the trust in your vendor landscape and the suppliers. But the biggest one, and the one that is underpinning these other trends, is clearly digitalization. And mobile, 5G that is nationwide rolled out, is the linchpin. It's the starting point. It's the foundation of this digital infrastructure. I would say also important is resilient clouds. It's not just any cloud infrastructure. It's the resilience that you have come to expect from a service that is always on. Resilient in terms of where you store the data, and also resilient in terms of uptimes, of course, making it available all the time. And then AI across. So those three together, nationwide 5G, nationwide mobile infrastructure, resilient clouds, and AI for automation, and in particular Gen AI both as a service for consumers and enterprises and governments, as well as AI across these different sectors, industries. So if I would just summarize some of the questions that I get, companies coming on, knocking on my door saying, I've learned about 5G because every smartphone is 5G. Every consumer is now digitalizing their life or lives with 5G. What should I do as an industry leader? What should I do as a CEO or perhaps someone working in a large enterprise? How can I get access to this digitalization platform, 5G, the most powerful digitalization platform that we've ever seen? Because I have needs, and my needs are not the same as a casual consumer, as a smartphone user. My needs, for example, as a video production team or a company producing these high-definition cameras that I think some of them are being used here. Sony, they have a very strong world market when it comes to professional cameras. When they want to be able to show up in a stadium where there's a game, when they want to show up for a news reporting when there is an accident perhaps or something to report, they want to have that network connectivity where they need it and when they need it. And that's not only in a great venue like in IMC, that could be anywhere in India, that could be anywhere in the world. So to be able to get good performance for your Sony cameras, to be able to transmit in real time, that requires much higher performance, uplink performance than typically networks are dimensioned for if you're just serving consumers with their smartphones and their gigabyte buckets. So Sony here came and said, we have 35 megabit per second constant streaming in the uplink. Can you guarantee that? Well, we can with 5G. We can set up a network slice and we can get these applications to connect over network APIs and pay for the service only when they need it and where they need it. So they have this need for dynamic control of resources. They wouldn't want to buy a subscription for a year. They want to have it when they need it and where they need it. And also think about the new glasses, the Meta glasses and other AR, augmented reality glasses. They will need to send a lot of video up to the cloud, and of course that requires better uplink performance. Or take the port again, the coverage that you need to be able to have increased safety by moving the operation from the truck to an AGV, or in this case a big crane that is operating remotely. Of course you need full network performance both in the uplink and the downlink, and you need guaranteed low latency. We are willing to pay for that. That's what these port operators tell us. Or why bother with Wi-Fi when you're in the office doing your regular work? When you anyway have 5G in your smartphone, in your tablet, in your laptop, let's go wireless as a service. We want to have better security, we want to have more flexibility. People work from home, they work from anywhere on the commute, they work from the office. And 5G is a technology that allows them to do it from anywhere. So wireless as a service, reducing cost and increasing the performance of the network. Advanced indoor positioning. Also new services that 5G can offer down to centimeter, decimeter precision. And of course, more security. Having access to fraud prevention services. Like in Brazil, if you're a bank that wants to lower your security risks, lower the fraud, then you can get access to network capabilities that can help you determine whether this is a fraudulent point of sale transaction or whether it's a legitimate transaction. And you do that with advanced security functions that you can get from the network. The network is exposing these functions through network APIs. Strong willingness to pay from the banks and from the financial sector in this area. So this is a snapshot from around the world where we get inbound requests to get more differentiated services, get to pay for them, but also get some guarantees, more than you get from a normal consumer mobile broadband service. So just to share a little bit of where the industry is going and our view of the future technology trends, we'd like to publish them regularly every year. And of course, this is in the latest publication, Ericsson Technology Review, listing 4 of the major trends here that are shaping the future of digitalization. First one is about network programmability. Being able to do what I said we are requested to do, create service differentiation. You need not just connectivity, you need a programmable network through open network APIs, but also a network that can set up services in indoor environments, in outdoor environments, for various UAVs and other moving equipment. All of this needs programmability. The static regime will be gone. Dynamic capabilities is where we're heading for. And then building in AI capabilities in the network. You could call it telecom AI, which is enhancing performance, but is also lowering the cost of operations significantly. So here you see lower energy consumption by AI in the network, you see better user experience, you see all of these things that we come to expect. And at the same time, we're lowering the total energy consumption, moving towards net zero by 2040 for the whole networks, reducing by 20-25% the energy consumption for the same or even increasing data rates by the year. So this is a major trend to use AI in the networks. Horizontal layers allows for openness and programmability, but it also allows for flexibility. So you can deploy with multiple vendors, you could deploy in different environments. In an enterprise environment, you deploy with public cloud or a hybrid cloud, and in an outdoor environment, you deploy on the existing infrastructure with base stations. And this allows you more flexibility also on the service provider, on the operator side. And then the last part, which I think is really what this is all about, it's to pursue innovation, if you like, on top of networks, making networks as open for business as your normal iPhone or Android phone with iOS and Android, or your cloud infrastructure, which you can program with open APIs towards a public cloud or a hybrid cloud environment. Now we're making the network equally open for business. And that will for sure be with us over the coming 10 years. So if the first 30 years of mobile was about satisfying the consumer need, the coming 30 years will be about the rest, which is of course society, small, medium businesses and enterprises, and consumers, especially with their new user experience, augmented reality, AI as an assistant, helping you in your daily life. So you can read more about this in this online publication, Ericsson Technology Review, and there are quite a lot of good examples from around the world how these trends are playing out. So a little bit more about this innovation on top of 5G. So take a look at the left-hand side here. What year would you put on that one? That's actually a picture that I found from back in 2005. That was before the iPhone. And of course, we had a plan for how to build a better user interface. We had a plan for how to make video immersive, as in this case, holding it in your palm. And just a few years later, we had the iPhone moment. So what that tells you is that technology takes time. It also takes time to make sure that you fill the needs that humans, society have in a way so that it scales. So even a great first product may not make a big change in society. It does take time to change user behavior, but it's also about having this foresight to prepare for it. And today's network operators, they are of course busy readying their network for the next user experience, which will be immersive experiences, augmented reality. You will have your glasses, your wearables, you will have your AI assistant to support you. And all of that will have to come together at a cost-efficient way, scalable. Our prediction is by 2027, we will have the next iconic moment where we will have, if not mass market, then cost-efficient wearables that will give you the immersive experience that I'm talking about here. Today you can see it in pricey gadgets. Price will come down, performance will come up, and readying the networks for this, better uplinks, making sure that you have the capacity, the latency in place for these new user experience is really the job of us now as an industry. You see some of the examples that are already commercial today. The mobile reporters, they are already buying network services from operators around the world to be able to create news shows or cover events. The surgery room is happening as well. Singapore is the example where this is already commercial, the upper part from the hospital, and the lower part happening around the world, in Europe, happening in US and elsewhere, where you have a really strong 5G infrastructure. But the trick is really what I show here in the middle. The fact that as an industry, we have not been forthcoming enough to make the networks open for business. So now we're taking the next step. You see here the announcement from a few weeks ago, when Ericsson, together with 12 leading operators around the world, created this global network API combiner, as it says here, an aggregating capability, so that platforms like the Google platform or the Vonage platform that ultimately expose developer APIs to any application around the world, they have access to all of these network capabilities that I described in the previous slides over one and the same platform, this aggregation platform. And this is just the start of it. We have many more operators that will join this. But you can see here in India, you have Airtel and you have Jio, and that's a good, very good start. In US, we have the three carriers, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon, part of this. And again, more to come around the world. So this is really creating the necessary foundation, in fact, accelerating the supply of these network capability to developers so that they can innovate, they can build the next application. And it's very unlikely that it's going to be only in the consumer space. It's going to be much more in the enterprise, in the small, medium business space. And that's, again, one of the areas where these first three APIs, number verify API, the location API, and the device status API. The fourth one would be quality on demand. These APIs will allow any innovator around the world to build enterprise application. Think of an Indian entrepreneur that builds a great application here that can take that to the world market, because it will work everywhere in the world through these open, available APIs that are then invoking capabilities in every local operator network around the world. That's a promise that we're now delivering on when it comes to 5G as a platform for innovation, 5G for consumer, enterprises and government services, and 5G as this digital infrastructure for all network needs. That actually means that although we are in the early stage of 5G rollout here in India, we're doing well, as I said in the beginning here, but there's much more to do around the world. Building out 5G nationwide with low band and mid band for people, that's a starting point. Taking the next step on this journey, the open 5G evolution, is really to use 5G technology for homes, fixed wireless access. Some predictions here in India go beyond 100 million households very soon. There is already around 6 million households here using 5G or mobile technology for home connections. In US, that number is already 9 million households in US that are using mobile technology, fixed wireless access, and it's just going to boom. So 330 million households will be connected in just 5 years' time all around the world with fixed wireless access, 5G technologies, 5G and 4G technologies. And beyond that, the residential part, you will get industry after industry, enterprise after industry, governments and so forth, until we get full societal coverage of this capability. And that's also the time when it's so important to look for the next step. That's when we start to look at the spectrum allocation. 6 gigahertz is extremely important, but spectrum beyond that in the 7 to 8 and the up to 15 gigahertz, these are bands that are extremely important for the evolution into 6G by, let's say, 2030. So the work that we are starting now in early standardization, research, of course, in the previous years, but now standardization, will lead up to interoperable standards by 2030, but also a smooth migration from 5G now evolving into 6G to cover more of the capacity, more of the network capabilities that I described before. And that's why you see that on the far right of this slide. It does say, for those that have good eyes, it does say 6G on it. Can you believe that? So this is actually your first 6G mobile. It's a little bit big. I have a hard time fit it in my pocket, but give it another 5 years. Then that 6G device should be possible to wear or put in your pocket or put in your vehicle or put in any kind of environment where you need 5G or 6G. So now, research, of course, standardization, trials, and over the coming years, a lot more will happen when it comes to global 6G collaboration. And it does really feel like it's becoming much more real here in this India Mobile Congress 2024. It really feels like it's coming together in a good way. So that's really where we are, driving innovation in 5G, but now serving the needs that are so much broader than we've had to deal with before. And I think some of the examples at the bottom there, they are already happening. That's my message. The future is really now. It is unevenly distributed, but we can share and learn from the best practices and create strong foundation that is more global than it is today. So with that, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, sir. The future is now, it is not evenly distributed, but yes, that's what we are here for, to foster the collaborative growth. Moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on the dais Mr. Siddharth Talawadekar. He is VP Business Head, IoT, Industry Practice Head, Digital Bharti Airtel, a seasoned B2B leader with over 14 years of expertise in driving growth.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Um, Thanks for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, in this amazing event with the, conclave of all the futuristic technologies coming together. So it's great to be here. Um, so the context that the topic that has given us key insights for the new decade, right? For the new decade. Um, so what I want to talk about is I'm going to give you some insights of what I have experienced and what we are experiencing around us and how our technology is converging and coming together, right? Which is shaping up this entire decade into a decade. I would start with the evolution of network technologies itself, right? We started with 2G. To come to 3G, it took us a good 10, 15 odd years. 3G was around for some time, then we moved to 4G. 4G was around for around 10 years. Now we've, come in the age of 5G, which was launched about a couple of years back. And it's just 2 years back, but we are already talking about 6G, right? 6G, how do we go to 6G? What are the use cases that are evolving? So that's the pace at which things are evolving, right? And what, a 4G or a 5G and 6G is all they're playing a role is they're turning out to be a great enabler for the entire ecosystem to develop, right? Use cases to develop. Look at quantum computing. Apart from AI that everyone has been talking about, quantum computing is going to be the next driver for the acceleration of digital revolution as well. Right? All these technologies, the way we look at them, they are impacting how we live, work, and play. A lot of us talk about enterprises, B2B adoption, but there's a huge evolution that is happening in the whole B2C world. But for all these technology trends to, become real, the technology, the ecosystem has to converge as well. So let's look at example of the UPI ecosystem. No one would have imagined that a local kirana shop would be actually doing digital payments, right? A few years back. But look at how it has changed how India operates. And, countries abroad, they are actually looking at this India story and trying to adopt it outside as well. If you go or travel abroad, you will not see this ease of transactions happening from a payment standpoint, right? But for this to happen, the ecosystem had to evolve, right? The device prices had to come down. The connectivity prices had to be good. There had to be, switching. The switches between banks had to talk to each other for this technology to be seamless. So a lot of moving parts had to come together for this UPI to become successful. And essentially, if you look at it, smartphone has been the key element out here, which is enabling it, right? And it is powering a lot of other use cases also. So all the technology have to come together for this to become real. Similarly, now we talk about AI. Everyone is talking about AI. Artificial intelligence is a trend that has just started, right? And AI as a concept is not new. It has been around. But with generative AI coming in, and it working along with technologies like machine learning, cloud computing, graphical processing units, natural language processing, neural networks, all these coming together are leading us to the next phase of evolution, right? And again, it is not only enterprises who are adopting AI. Look at consumers. The new age folks, the new generation is also adopting AI today. It is being democratized to the apps that the users are using. Look at the kinds of images that are generated on Instagram nowadays, right, using AI. So it's here everywhere. It is here, it is now. Look at quick commerce, for example, right? You can see quick commerce taking off in a huge way. Again, this was not imagined about a few months or a few quarters back. AI is again shaping how your dark stores are operating. What is the kind of demand that you see in the market? How are the dark stores going to cater with the right stocking of SKUs and then supply within that 10-minute delivery time? People have even gone to the extent of actually picking back the shipments as well if you don't like them. So this is the speed at which it's evolving, right? I'll give you a few examples of how the telecom industry is also shaping this, right? So with the advent of 5G, we are working with on private networks, which we are deploying at manufacturing plants, at shop floors. And it's opening a host of Industry 4.0, even Industry 5.0 use cases now, right? Smart factories through private 5G, AMR, autonomous mobile robots, multiple IoT devices working on high-speed internet, right? All of this is being powered. AI is playing a role, and it's coming in and powering these use cases. You look at what's happening with regards to AI in even what Airtel has done recently, right? We have launched something called as a spam-free network, right? AI is core to that as well. It is powering what's really happening. So imagine analyzing 250 plus parameters within 2 milliseconds, and then coming out and telling you that, hey, this is a suspected spam, and probably it's going to be an issue. So you should not really you should be careful. Imagine doing that at a network layer, right? Where we have billions of such calls that are going on, billions of transactions that are happening, which have to be analyzed. All this is possible only using AI as a tool, right? On the B2B front as well, this was for consumers. Even on B2B front, we are working with banks. We are telling them, we are again analyzing a lot of data on the real-time basis, telling and helping them that probably these messages are going out using your names and they should be stopped. So we are working with those folks also to secure our end consumers, right? Look at smart metering as another example. You know that there are almost 25 crore meters which are getting digitized, the consumer meters that are at our homes. They're all getting converted to smart meters. Eventually, it's going to lead to a smart grid, right? So imagine the grids are going to be really, really advanced, really, really intelligent. And they are going to help us predict what are the kind of demands in terms of energy that is going to come up, right? It is going to make our grid smart. It is going to make our discom smart. They can plan the capacities better to address the needs of consumers. They are going to enable use cases like time of day as well, where you will actually pay more when the demand is peak, you pay less when the demand is less, right? So it's getting translated. So again, AI is going to play a key role in this as well. In terms of cybersecurity and so in terms of ESG, that's another area where we are seeing a big initiative by a lot of companies, right? ESG is a big driver today, where companies want to take strong initiatives on ESG, reduce their carbon footprint as such. That is where we are playing another key role, right? So imagine a system which monitors energy consumption patterns, utilities consumption patterns across your factory floors, across your offices, giving you insights on where exactly is your machine going to break down, when it is going to break down, right? And can you take action on it? Giving you insights on which are the areas where you should probably not be consuming this much energy, and giving you actionable insights to basically conserve energy and costs, and eventually leading to a greener world, right? So a host of these use cases are evolving. In conclusion, as we see 5G, AI, and other enabling technologies, they are all redefining the way we live, work and play. And in a globally connected world, progress as technology defines progress of the nation, as it provides a better life for citizens, fortifies defenses, and makes the world a better place. So essentially, it's a great decade to be a part of. It's the whole technology evolving around us, and I would like to invite you all to our, we are showcasing some of the technologies at Airtel as well, and I would be happy to host you there. Thank you.
The next speaker that we have will be talking about supercharging India through equitable AI. And talking about the speaker, he is a prominent business executive currently serving as the CEO of G42 India, with the objective of spearheading G42 strategic initiatives in the subcontinent and accelerate India's digital transformation by deploying advanced AI-driven solutions that enhance efficiency, sustainability, and economic growth. He was a former global VP of Xiaomi and CEO of Xiaomi India, and played a leading role in establishing the brand worldwide as a dominant player in the Indian market and the smartphone industry. Under his leadership, Xiaomi India achieved remarkable milestones, becoming the #1 smartphone brand in India and holding this position for over 5 years, and #1 smart TV market brand for 4 years. The speaker will be joining us in a short while, but meanwhile, once again, for all those people who joined us, I request you to kindly occupy the front seats. People who have just joined, there are seats in the front that are free. You can come and occupy the front seats. We are here, and the topic of this keynote addresses is Future Unveiled. As you can see at the background, we are discussing the key insights for the new techade. Eminent speakers from across the world will be joining us for this session. I'll quickly take you through the topics that we will be covering under this big, larger topic. We will be talking about accelerating possibilities, enabling the future of telcos with 5G and AI. We will be talking about how we can build a better future for our future generation, and how we can also add sustainability when we talk about the telecom industry. I would now like to welcome Mr. Manu Kumar Jain, founder G42. He will be talking on supercharging India through equitable AI. Join your hands together, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi guys, this is Manu here. My name is Manu. I represent this group called as G42, and we'll talk about equitable AI. Right? This is a hot topic that AI should be accessible to anyone and everyone. This is also something that our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, spoke about yesterday. He said that the benefits of AI should reach every single person, irrespective of what the language is, where that person is. It should reach the benefit, and we'll just talk a little bit about it. Quick introduction about G42. So this is a group which was formed in 2018, 6 years ago, in a place called as Abu Dhabi, a place which was traditionally known for building large infrastructure for oil, for tourism, for all these kind of businesses. The group was born over there, and in last 6 years, this place has really seen a huge transformation from oil to AI and from sand to space. And we'll just talk a little bit more about this. So the group started 6 years ago, and the group is basically funded by a large number of global investors, including Mubadala, including Silver Lake, including Ray Dalio family, and now Microsoft. Sorry, something is going wrong. This was a recent announcement that we made, which is Microsoft, which is the leading technology company, just invested $1.5 billion in the group in G42. So what does G42 do? It's a holding company which owns multiple assets across the entire end-to-end value chain of AI. The way we think of our group and the way we think of AI, there are 3 horizontal groups. One, building data centers. Second, building large compute clusters and cloud. And third, building AI models. And in each of these, we would be one of the largest in the world and perhaps the largest in the region. For example, our data center company has already deployed more than 300 megawatt and is now constructing something around 2 gigawatts in the region. We have a company called as Core42, which owns one of the largest supercomputers in the world, which is housed in California. And the Inception company is building a large number of AI models, including the largest Arabic and one of the largest Hindi models. And then we have industry verticals, the one that you see on the top. Like there's a company which is doing genome sequencing, which is a company, our healthcare company called as M42. There's a company which is building satellites and using geospatial data, which is named as Bayana, and now it's been renamed to Space 42. There's a company which does big data AI analytics called as Preside. There's a company which is doing consumer tech, Astrotech. And we recently acquired a company which does end-to-end cybersecurity for everyone, which is called as CPX. So this is how the group is there. We also do a lot of other cool things like autonomous driving in Abu Dhabi. And the idea is to basically build a lot of these solutions across the world and also in India. So these are our group companies. We're also a founding member or one of the what we call as GPs in a large investment firm called as MGX. So MGX is a new investment vehicle, $100 billion company which has been set up in Abu Dhabi. And G42 is one of the two founding partners in MGX, and the idea is to basically invest in latest and cutting edge technologies such as AI, semiconductors, and all the deep tech technologies using this fund or using this company. We are partners with some of the large technology giants across the world. We have a partnership going on with OpenAI. We have a partnership with Microsoft. And of course, Microsoft is also an investor in G42. And then we have many other companies that you can see on the list, which are our technology partners. We also do a lot of work for responsible AI. We recently announced a partnership with NVIDIA on climate tech, where we want to ensure that AI is used in a responsible way to improve the current climatical situation or climatical crisis that we are facing across the world. Our chairman was named as one of the 100 people when it comes to AI across the world on Time Magazine. Talking a little bit about changing gears and talking about what we are thinking of doing in India. So remember we spoke about the three foundational blocks, which is data centers, supercomputers, and AI. Those are the three foundational blocks that we are thinking of building in India. We recently signed, the two governments, when Honorable Prime Minister was visiting Abu Dhabi, the two governments signed an MOU for doing these three projects, which is building extremely large-scale data center, a 2 gigawatt data center, building what can be perhaps India's largest supercomputer, an 8 exaflop machine. As a benchmark, this 8 exaflop machine would be about 800 to 1,000 times bigger than the largest supercomputer in the country, and building Indic language LLM models, large language models, based on Hindi or Indic languages like Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Bengali, Marathi, etc. So happy to share, we started our journey by first launching our AI model, which we are calling as Nanda. We built an AI model in Arabic language, which is the largest Arabic model, called as JS, and now we are focusing on Indic languages, starting with Hindi. So this is the model that we unveiled. We are actually showcasing this model today with our partners Qualcomm. So if you go to the Qualcomm booth here, you can see the live demo of this model over there. This is perhaps the largest Hindi model, which has been trained on 13 billion parameter models. It has been trained on about 2.1 trillion tokens, and it does a beautiful job of not only Hindi and English, but also English, because a lot of us, the way we speak is half Hindi, half English, or we type Hindi words using English characters like main aa raha hoon, so M-A-I-N, A-A-R-A-H-A. So a lot of this stuff, this can do beautifully well, this model. And we hope this model gets integrated with the fabric of technology in India and can help supercharge some of the large technology initiatives. So this can be used, a lot of people ask us where this will be used. We hope to make one version of this available as open source model, but we also want to make this available for a lot of enterprises who can then build applications on top of it. Some of the use cases are mentioned here. For example, this can be integrated to large scale technology platforms such as Aadhaar, such as UPI, and a bunch of others. This can be used by medical professionals for providing basic healthcare facilities in small towns and villages that to local vernacular language. It can be used for educational purpose. It can be used for financial institutions, banks, insurance companies. It can also be used for content creation, like for movies, writing songs, scripts, or doing anything else. A lot of use cases that we can think of, and we really hope to work with a lot of people sitting in this room or across India to help build these applications. So that's the model that we're showcasing, guys. If any of you are keen, please reach out to any of us or head to the Qualcomm booth and you can see the model over there. The last thing I would say, and then take a pause, is we believe that, or at least personally, I believe that there are 4 or 5 big things which have changed the world. If you look at the entire humanity, like few thousand years, these were things like fire, wheel, invention of steam engine, computer, and then internet. Remember, late 90s when internet was coming in, there was a lot of apprehension, curiosity around it, and internet really changed the world. We at G42 believe AI is going to be the next big thing, probably bigger than all of these 5 combined together. the kind of impact that it will have on each of our lives in the next 5 to 10 years will be significantly more than what any of these things had in the past. And we at G42 would want to work with all of you guys in making this happen and ensuring that this is equitable AI, that AI is accessible and reachable to every single person in India in their own mother tongue, in their own language. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Manu. Moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, we move to our next keynote address. The next keynote address will be by Savi Soin. He's the Senior Vice President and President of Qualcomm India. I would like to invite him on the dais. In the role that he is currently representing, he leads the business team in executing Qualcomm's strategy in India by fostering important relationships with industry partners, government, and academia. He is based in Gurugram, India. Soin began his Qualcomm career in 1999, and during his tenure, he has helped shape the strategy direction for Qualcomm in several leadership roles, including strategy, business development, and operations. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Savi Soin.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I think I'm the last speaker. Somebody walking in told me, "Bhook lagi hai." So I'll try to keep it short so you don't have too much, I'm between you and lunch, so I'll keep it rather short. So thank you very much to the IMC, and it's an honor to be here. What a great event to get all the global mobile ecosystem folks all in one place, right? You see competitors, you see partners, you see people that have been working with a lot of different people. All the ecosystem is here, so it's great to have everyone. When IMC launched in July, it was interesting. The theme was "The future is now," right? It went back on a few years ago. I remember a CEO of a different company told me, "Yeah, Savi, India is always selling a dream, right? But I believe now, India is not selling a dream. The future is today. The future is, it's not selling an imagination for an opportunity in the future, right? I think the future is right here in front of us. So I think we should all, I love the actual theme of the IMC today. So it's great. Thanks for being here. So let me get started. There's I don't want to tell you about India. You guys are all experts about India. But there are a few things that really excite us, right? There's a lot of things that are happening in terms of the booming tech ecosystem, right? There's the whole 5G rollout. 5G is pan-India. You see what's happening in the digital in India initiatives across multiple sectors, right? There are many things that, things that I excite about India. But I think the three that are me personally being here for a little over a year, I'm very excited about. One is the youth, right? The youth in India, I think 65% of the youth, if I'm not mistaken, is below 35. It's amazing to see the talent that's out there in India and the hunger to actually improve every day in terms of India as a country and them as a community, right? The second is, we realize as we bring in new products and, coming here, I thought, India was all about a feature phone market or low-end market. India is more and more about people want a premium experience and are willing to pay for it. Amazing to see that those that were, once looking for a button phone are now looking for a 5G smartphone, right? For which actually we have an amazing chip that we launched just a few months ago. And please come to the Qualcomm booth. You'll see an amazing chip that was designed to bring that smartphone pricing below 10,000 rupees, right? So we think we can bring it down to that price, and even below, you'll have a mass adoption of 5G that's available to all. So we're very excited about that. And obviously the third thing is all about data consumption, right? India's mobile first. What does that mean, right? As I was growing up in the US, I had the PC before I had the mobile phone, right? Back in the 90s, I had a laptop. We worked on the laptop. We had a desktop. And then eventually we got a mobile phone, right? A lot of folks in India actually got the mobile phone before they got the PC, right? So it's really exciting to see the data consumption in India and how India is adopting. And sometimes I feel banking on a mobile phone is much easier in India than it is in the US. And you already know about the UPI payment system. So it's amazing to see what's happening in terms of the revolution of data, 5G, and data consumption. Like I said, many things to be excited about, but a few things I think talk about the way the future is going and how we can all participate in it. I think you guys all know AI, it's a big buzzword. AI and ML now is in a wide range of devices, right? All the way from cars to phones to PCs to edge boxes to cameras. Everything has AI, a limited capability of AI in it, right? Almost every device has become smarter, right? So a lot of things that are happening, everything is becoming more and more intelligent, right? I would encourage you to come to our booth. It's in Hall 4, and you'll see a bunch of things in terms of use cases around AI that we are showcasing. We're showing what you can do with a PC. For example, let's say you want to take a YouTube video and place yourself inside the YouTube video, or take somebody that's an actor and place them in your home. You're all able to do that in an editing tool within 2 minutes. So it's amazing what you're able to do with AI on a PC, on a phone, and so on and so forth. The second thing is very important. For India to be a hub for innovation, we have to build devices. We have to not just manufacture them, but we had a discussion earlier with the Secretary of Telecom. We talked about how we have to be a nation in which we have to design products. Once we start designing products, we'll find that that's a capability we must, not only it's important to India, I think it's important to the whole globe in terms of India having this capability. And the last is, once we have that, I think we can now have unique use cases, unique devices that now we can become an exporter, right? So it's not just exporting our manufacturing capabilities, but it's also exporting the devices that are now designed in India for the world. So one of the things I think everybody's all talking about Gen AI and Gen AI, right? I think if you look at the cost of running a query, right? Let's say you went to OpenAI and actually, let's say you wrote us my speech today, right? You'll find the cost of running that model, not just from a cost per token, but cost of running that model is humongously more expensive. And not only that, it requires a lot more consumption of power. These data centers are requiring a lot of power, right? So what's happening now more and more is so I talked about a lot of these devices around you are becoming smarter, right? Please come to the booth and you'll see those smart devices, right? What's happening is these devices, for example, the phone now can do up to 10 billion parameters, right? The PC can do around 20 billion parameters, and the car can do about 100. So you have now the capability of AI on the device, right? And you already know that the cost of running these queries on the cloud is very expensive. So now it comes back to an amazing opportunity for, I think, in India to lead on device AI. What does that mean? What it means is, please create these use cases, because these devices are coming into India that have a lot of capability. What they don't have is, what are we going to do with these devices, right? So I give you some use cases. There are some use cases that you can come, like, we're doing it in cars with the Indian OEMs. You'll come and see driver monitoring. Like the driver goes to sleep, it'll raise alarms and so on and so forth. So a lot of application, not only around entertainment, but also around safety that we can bring to a lot of these vehicles, right? For example, let's say you have cameras. You don't in your home, right? Everybody seems to have a camera in their home and multiple cameras in your home. You don't need to send all that data, to the cloud for processing. You can do a lot of those processing on the edge or in your home with low latency, lower cost, and obviously privacy as well, which is very important. So all of these, I believe, is a huge opportunity for India to find a way to lead the on-device AI revolution that is just starting out, right? So hopefully the young people here, take this message and see what's the art of the possible. I talked about Qualcomm. I think, like I said, please come to the booth. You'll see a lot of these devices, but we are the leader on AI on device, right? We've got more than 100 devices and every day we're launching a new device. We're going to be launching a new chip here very soon, our premium tier chip. And we're very excited about what is the art of the possible. And we have about more than 115 devices that already have AI capability that is already shipping. So it's not something that maybe it's available only on one phone or one tier or one OEM. These devices are available all the way from PC. We have edge boxes that we can show you in our booth and other places. So it's amazing to see the opportunity that you guys can all thrive by leveraging some of the stuff that's on device. I think from Qualcomm plays a very important role, right? So people asked, why you guys are so important, right? We have we have an amazing team, an engineering team that is across India, right? We have best in class, and people say, hey, is it you're doing it for cost reasons? No more is India a cost thing. We are all about best in class. We have the best engineers that are located in multiple sites that are working on not just mobile, we're working on PC, we're working on autonomous vehicles, we're working on IoT devices like the camera and so on and so forth. So it's amazing to see that once the India ecosystem builds, you can actually leverage the engineering capability that Qualcomm has right here in the country, right? And customize these solutions for India market. So it's a great opportunity for us, for all of you guys to leverage the capability and scale of Qualcomm right here in India. And I worked for Qualcomm for 25 years, right? Qualcomm is one of the most amazing companies, right? We always remember to give back to the community, right? It's not about us. We're all about giving back to the community. There's a few things that we do really well, and a few things I wanted to highlight. We have an amazing, semiconductor, everybody talks about semiconductor, right? So you would think, Qualcomm, you don't want India semiconductor to come up. No, actually, we actually want India semiconductor companies to come up. We have a semiconductor mentorship program that's run by our folks in our Bangalore office, right? That's doing amazing work on mentoring these new semiconductor companies. We also have this for women and entrepreneurs that if you're looking for to help women entrepreneurs, we have other amazing initiatives that we have throughout Qualcomm to help the community. All of this, by the way, is on display in Hall 4. So I encourage you guys right after this, maybe right after lunch, please come to the booth. You'll see amazing things that we're doing on two-wheelers around AI and around digitization of two-wheelers. You'll see things that we are doing on the auto in terms of a better experience in the car, as well as what we can do in terms of AI and ADAS features. You'll see amazing things that we are doing on PC, right? It will be an amazing experience to see what does AI PC and what can it do for you, right? We have a few devices there and so on and so forth. I talked about the camera. You can see how many cameras are feeding and going into the cloud. You can see what you can do at the edge with inference at the edge. So I encourage you to, after lunch, make your way down to the Qualcomm booth and see for yourself. We're not about talking, as somebody told me when I joined Qualcomm India, he said, "Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai." So we want to show you what is possible with Qualcomm tech. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Enjoy your lunch, and thank you for being patient with me and staying here. Thank you.